Hi guys, thanks for joining me in another episode of MTV, Monsta TV. Today we're going to talk about what building materials to use or consider when you're renovating. Now, if you're doing a serious renovation and it's an extension, or you might be even having a new build, you consider things like, do you go timber frame, do you go steel frame, or do you go solid masonry, solid brick? A lot of people think solid brick, solid masonry may be more expensive than going steel or timber. However, you also need to look at the cost over time and where the benefits might be with those different types of materials to construct your home, because the structural elements are key players in ongoing costs, stability and value. So remember that one. So firstly, benefits of timber. It's lightweight, very cost effective, and normally quicker and easier to install with carpentry trades, because you can clad the inside with either gyprock or plasterboard linings or cement sheeting, etc. And you can also clad the outside a little bit easier, and it accommodates for movement. Now, there are benefits for timber frames sometimes over solid masonry, even if there's not a cost issue, because the fact is it has a bit more give than solid masonry. If you're on soil that might move a little bit, there's always that cracking phenomenon that can happen with solid masonry homes or plaster, and a bit of an eyesore there which you have to repair. So something to take into consideration. But don't always think that timber frame, being the cheaper one up front with cost, is going to be better over time, because the benefits of solid masonry are also thermal, noise and value long term. So just remember that. Now, steel frame and timber frame, this comes up a lot in discussion, and which should I go with? Steel framing is becoming more and more popular in Australia, and it has done for probably the last decade. And where steel framing is starting to offer its benefits and value is the reduced risk with termite activity. Now, many of our timber frame builders will tell you that there is reduced risk with timber framing. However, timber is timber, and termites like timber and wood products. With steel framing, it does provide you less of a risk, and the warranties that many of those companies give that specialise in steel framing home will cover that anti-termite activity. So it's something to take into consideration, particularly if you are in an area where it could be active. There are different parts of Australia where certain termite species are more active than others. So think about that, talk to your builder. If you are set in your mind that you're going to go down the path of steel framing, then there are builders that specialise in steel framing. Talk to those builders first. Sometimes you might find that you've got a builder who you've convinced them that you want to go down the path of steel framing, and they haven't been in that game or that space for a while, and they're trying to find other trades. Not that they can't do it, but they may not be as cost effective because they're not doing that work all the time. So there's just the discussions to have at the beginning of your contract, the beginning of the renovation, from the planning stage. As we always say, plan, do it at the start. Once you get that planning phase right, you'll find it just goes a lot smoother than trying to find that you're going backwards because you're asking questions, you get additional costs and things aren't going right. The time to ask that question is at that planning phase. It could be 12 months out, and that's where, if you want to come in with our sounding board, our Monsta Pros can help you in that space to just guide you along on the questions to ask and what you need to look for. But if you're going down that path, as I said, between steel and timber frame, ask the question, find out the facts, the real facts, not always from the people trying to sell it to you. There's a lot of good information online, and you might even find some of the building resources out there from the Housing Industry Association or Master Builders can give you some guidance on that. And as far as brickwork goes, again, there are a lot of benefits of brickwork. We're starting to see now bricklayers, a bit of a renaissance in Australia in certain areas, and because of render and texture, which is becoming so much more popular, it does give you some thermal benefits, because you can actually use things like thermal resistant renders on the brickwork. So take that into consideration, because you might find that when you do your final numbers over 10 years, 15 years, your energy costs could be significantly reduced because you went down the path of a solid masonry home instead of just a timber frame or steel frame. So all those things to be wary of, because, as I said, always build, even though you might think it's your forever home, always build. There's a value to your home. Don't overcapitalise. Make sure you've planned that out properly, and you know exactly that where you're sitting or living in, you've got an asset that is worth something in the future that you can get a good return on. Any questions on this, please come back to us. We're here to help you. The Monsta crew is waiting to give you a hand on any of those questions, and our Monsta Pros are ready to take your booking to help have that one-on-one Skype session with them. Next time, I'm looking forward to seeing your home, steel frame, timber frame, or the solid brick. See you then.